Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I decided I would do one last video on the love for the planet on Happy Valentine's Day. Today is February 14th, 2017. Wow, can't believe that. So I'm kind of probably just going to start with the messages from the intuitive card decks that I've been pulling. The first one is from the Oracle of E card deck, which is kind of an interesting card deck, actually. Again, I'm not getting paid to say anything about these or anything. I just find them to be really fun and kind of helpful tools to get another perspective outside of just one person and give more influence or, I guess, alternative perspective thinking. So the one that I pulled first is called Over Your Shoulder, number 10. And the message for our country, planet, universe today is those recurring patterns in your life, throw them overboard. Whoever said those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it was full of bunk. You only repeat patterns when you continue to stare at them. You get hypnotized and then act them out. Take one last look back if you must, and then say sayonara for good. By the way, the Oracle of E is actually a card deck that's supposed to be speaking from the universe's perspective, or God, or I believe they call the higher power the dude in this card deck, which I think some guys thought was pretty funny. I thought it was funny too, but I know guys felt like, oh, this isn't so girly because it says dude in it. But that I felt like really kind of resonated with our country. Like, just because we are in a space now that is painful for a lot of people, it doesn't mean that we're repeating things that happened in the past, and it doesn't mean that it has to keep going that way in the future. If we keep looking back at those painful things, if we keep rehashing and hashing up the things that are making us uncomfortable, yeah, we're going to stay that way. But if we focus on the future, and if we say, well, that was in the past and that was really kind of uncomfortable and painful, let's look at what we want to do instead, then we can make a different world. We can create a different type of love and community and compassion for one another. So I hope that you all join me in putting everything over your shoulder and let's focus on what we want instead. The second one is number 35. Which is called Live Wire. It says, within you is a powerful elixir that can change the world, both your world and the one around you. Scientists call this elixir emotions. But you can think of it as a supercharged current capable of taking you anywhere you want to go. You can use your emotions to suffer or skyrocket to fame. Good to know. It's up to you. So that's basically saying, kind of what I was just saying a minute ago, was we can focus on the positive or we can focus on the negative. Whatever we want, it's in our hands. We make that happen. We need to guide it with our emotions. I will be sharing some videos coming up on emotions, on decoding them, and getting down to why a lot of people are so disconnected from their emotions. But that is really where we need to be at, looking at things as a country and as a, race and as a community right now. We need to be looking at it from compassion, and we need to be looking at it from the emotions that bring us those feelings and figuring out why those feelings are coming up so we can get to the root of those and then change how we feel. So that is the Oracle of E. And then there is one more card that I pulled with that regard. This one is from the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle card deck, which is generally something that I think a lot of women use because it's really empowering and encouraging to females. But this one was pretty applicable to the overall community, planet as a whole. So I decided I would actually just read it for it. So this one is called Sacred Falcon Shows the Way. And, I mean, if you look at it, it looks pretty powerful. You got a bird in there, which are messengers. You've got what looks like a buffalo, which are very strong, powerful animals. And the female in it looks pretty happy and joyful and really just enjoying the moment and being present. So this says, my wisdom is embodied in nature. I speak to you through the language of the natural world. You will understand my guidance for you as you trust in your observations of nature. Look for my signs. And this is speaking from Mother Earth, basically. My language is symbolic, humorous, clear, and loving. I talk to you every day, my divine wild child. Within you are the wild instincts and loving intuitions that can recognize my signs, the presence of my guiding hand. I am speaking to you, believe. The Divine Mother has many ways of communicating. We can be most receptive to her helpful guidance when we are open, without expectation, as to how she shall communicate or what she shall tell us. We must be willing to trust our hearts when we feel moved. That's a big one. Even if our logical mind has doubts. Your heart just knows when you have received a sign from the Divine Mother. It could be the most ordinary occurrence, a simple remark made by another, a song on the radio, the sudden appearance of an animal. A lot of people see a lot of animals lately, especially birds. Birds are messengers from the divine, from a higher energy. So pay attention to what birds are around. Sometimes it's fun to just kind of look up what they are. And say animal symbolism, actually in general. You see some deer, you don't normally see deer. Look up what a deer means. If you see some hawks. Lately, I've heard some people seeing a lot of hawks. I think I even saw a hawk recently that was beautiful. And hawks are messengers. Animals are messengers. They're created from the divine, from earth. It is the closest to purity, way more than us. And they're trying to give us messages. So if we look for the symbolism, if we look for the meaning behind them, sometimes we can get a lot of clarity for some of our stuff, actually, if we're actually paying attention. So I encourage you to look that up if you suddenly feel compelled to do so. Like, oh, I just saw that animal. Maybe I should look that up. Do it. You never know what you can get out of it. The worst that can happen is, oh, you read some information, didn't really help. Okay, so move on. But if you do read something and it's like, wow, that totally connects, you might gain something really helpful out of that. So let me continue. It says, yet underneath this apparent ordinariness, there is a sense of a numinous, a magic that catches your breath before your mind steps into discount it as fanciful. You sense and feel something profound beneath the appearance of the everyday. Or perhaps your sign is more dramatic, an accident that seems like a warning, or a synchronicity too vivid or compelling to ignore. A lot of people just say, oh, that's a coincidence. Is it really a coincidence? I encourage you to really think about it. What shows a sign to be a communication from the divine, rather than any other mundane happening, is the feeling that accompanies it. It captures your attention and you sense there is meaning for you, even if you're not sure immediately that what the meaning could be. For one person, it may be a ladybug landing on their shoulder. Without thinking, they flick it off. For you, however, that same simple happening could reflect a deeper communion. The landing of that ladybug is the reassuring touch of the Divine Mother upon your shoulder. Maybe a bird strikes its prey right before you. For you, it is a sign of great opportunity that you must be ready to act upon without hesitation. A single white feather, as if from an angel, could fall from the sky and land at your feet. Somehow, you know everything is going to be all right. Another person may give these things not a second thought. It says, when the oracle of Sacred Falcon shows the way comes to you, you are being told to trust the signs. I can't speak that more powerfully. Trust the signs. Everybody is awakening right now. Listen to your signs. They are there for a reason. Trust what your heart tells you, what you feel over and above any apparent logic. Clearly, there are a lot of crazy people right now. Don't listen to them. Listen to you. Trust where you are being led and what you feel the divine is communicating to you through the happenings in the natural world. Trust even in the signs you sense through the modern world created by humanity, such as a song on the radio or a book that seems to demand that you purchase it, for there is divine guidance in all things if we know how to feel and look for it. There's a lot more to read, but I think I'm just going to skip ahead to this part, which I found really important. This oracle of Sacred Falcon Shows the Way also comes with a special message. Even in the most unlikely of circumstances, a way can be found. It will not necessarily be a consciously understood way. You can allow the instincts of your own nature to help you find what you seek. Instinct is not intellectual deduction justified by logic. Instinct is more like intuition in that it comes from deep within the body. Where intuition comes from the heart, instinct arises from the body's knowing and expresses itself through your bones, a gut feeling from deep in the belly, or a sense of smell that alerts you to something or someone not being quite right. Instinct is your body's version of intuition, and it is natural and helpful. We were born with instinct evolutionarily to help us to stay from getting eaten by lots of predators. So, instinct has not changed over time. Instinct has now gained the addition of a wise heart, which then creates intuition, gut feeling, plus understanding the body gives us lots of power if we use it correctly. On to the next part. Instinct is your body's version of intuition and is natural and helpful. The process of socialization and education typically tries to impose reason and logic, intellectual and rational explanation upon our instinctual self as though the intellect were somehow superior. Intellect is a form of useful intelligence, but to allow it to dominate instinct is not intelligent at all. So, last words of wisdom before I end this video. I hope you guys all sit with that and kind of really take that in and think about all the messages that were written in that. We are awakening as a community right now in the world because we need to. We need to pay attention to ourselves. We are living in a world that is so independent, that we are so separated from each other, that we're feeling an actual painful separation. We need to connect again, because that's where we find strength. That's where we get support, is by being together and connecting with one another and keeping bonds together to help each other be strong. But we're not there right now. So it takes us getting back to who we are and realizing that we know more than we give ourselves credit for, and that we know our body more than somebody else outside of our body. So if there's something speaking to us, we really need to pay attention to it and then listen to them too. But if it doesn't sit well in your body, you really have to pay attention to that. I cannot speak that more strongly. So, last words of encouragement, wisdom, thoughts here is be present. Love is everywhere on Valentine's Day, whether or not it's in the woman who is giving her child a kiss, whether or not it is in seeing a heart somewhere in a symbol, whether or not it is having your little lovely animal sleeping behind you, snoring, and then coming up and giving you kisses and snuggles. There's love everywhere. So on Valentine's Day, I hope you look for love in all the different places around you. Be present in the moment. Smells, sounds, taste, touch, everything that is your immersive experience of love in the world. It is everywhere. There is purpose for everyone today. Whether or not you are with somebody romantically or by yourself, everybody has a purpose for being today. So I hope that you get out and follow your gut where that brings you, because you might need to go and talk to somebody who could use whatever you're going to say. Rather than what we can get out of something, why not focus on what I can give? So again, gratitude. I hope you focus on what you can bring to the world rather than what you feel like it needs to give you, because when we give to others, we get back tenfold. So on that note, I wish you a very, very happy Valentine's Day, and I hope you really make it what the world really needs right now. Compassion, love, forgiveness, empathy. It's all the important stuff. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.